In the summer of 1518, the streets of Strasbourg witnessed a spectacle both strange and terrifying. Dozens of people, perhaps hundreds, began to dance uncontrollably for days on end. This was no celebration or joyous occasion. It was a plague, a phenomenon that led many to dance themselves to exhaustion or even death. Welcome to the story of the dancing plague of 1518, a mystery that continues to baffle historians, scientists, and psychologists alike. To understand how such a bizarre event could unfold, we must first immerse ourselves in the world of 16th-century Strasbourg. Situated in the Holy Roman Empire, Strasbourg was a bustling medieval city, but life here was anything but easy. The city had recently been ravaged by famine, political instability, and rampant diseases such as the Black Death. Medieval Europe was no stranger to strange phenomena. Plagues, both physical and spiritual, haunted the population. The fear of death loomed large, and society was deeply rooted in religious and superstitious beliefs. Strasbourg was also struggling under the weight of social and economic pressures. Heavy rains had ruined crops, inflation skyrocketed, and people lived in constant fear of famine and disease. Religion played a central role in people's lives, and it shaped their understanding of the world. Many believed that divine punishment or demonic possession caused the suffering they endured. This belief system would play a crucial role in the interpretation of the strange events that would soon unfold. Strasbourg, like much of Europe, was a religiously charged environment, and this would heavily influence how people interpreted the bizarre events of the summer of 1518. It all began in July 1518 with a single woman, Frau Trophea. One hot day, she stepped into the streets and began to dance, her movements uncontrollable, her face expressionless. At first, her neighbors watched with curiosity, perhaps even amusement. But as hours passed and she did not stop, concern grew. Frau Trophea danced for hours, then days, unable to stop. No one could explain what was happening. Was she possessed by spirits? Cursed by a saint? Neighbors tried to help her, but nothing worked. And soon, others began to join her in this strange and relentless dance. Within a week, more than 30 people had succumbed to the mysterious compulsion to dance. It wasn't long before the streets of Strasbourg were filled with frenzied dancers, moving uncontrollably, as though in a trance. This was not the first time a dancing plague had been reported. There were records of similar events in other European towns, but never on such a scale. Something was happening in Strasbourg that could not be ignored. The dancing plague quickly escalated. Over the next few weeks, as many as 400 people joined the dance, with many collapsing from exhaustion, strokes, and heart attacks. Local authorities were desperate to find a solution to the growing crisis. The city's magistrates and clergy believed that the plague was a result of divine wrath. In their panic, they turned to the church for guidance. Physicians of the time, however, had a different theory. They believed the dancers were suffering from an excess of hot blood, a humoral imbalance that could be cured through more dancing. Their solution? To let them dance it out. Strange as it sounds, the town authorities erected stages and hired musicians and professional dancers to encourage the afflicted to continue dancing, believing this would purge the sickness from their bodies. But instead of a cure, the dancing spread further. Dancers were in agony, their feet bleeding, their bodies weakened, and yet they could not stop. Eyewitnesses reported that many danced until they collapsed or even died from sheer exhaustion. It was clear that something far more complex and dangerous was at play. Centuries later, historians, psychologists, and scientists have attempted to explain the cause of the dancing plague of 1518. Several theories have emerged, each offering a different perspective on this baffling event. Theory 1. Mass hysteria and psychological stress. One of the most widely accepted theories is that the dancing plague was a form of mass hysteria, a psychological condition triggered by extreme stress and fear. The residents of Strasbourg were living under intense pressure. Famine, disease, and poverty weighed heavily on their minds. The theory suggests that this psychological stress manifested itself physically, resulting in an outbreak of uncontrolled dancing. Cases of mass hysteria, where groups of people exhibit the same bizarre behavior, have been documented throughout history. From witch hunts to meowing nuns, the human mind is capable of extraordinary responses to extreme conditions. Theory 2. Ergot poisoning. Another popular theory is ergot poisoning. Ergot is a type of fungus that grows on rye, a staple grain in medieval Europe. When ingested, ergot can cause hallucinations, muscle spasms, and delusions, symptoms similar to those exhibited by the dancers. Ergotism, also known as St. Anthony's fire, has been responsible for outbreaks of strange behavior and illness throughout history. Could it be that the people of Strasbourg, unknowingly ingesting contaminated rye, were suffering from the effects of this toxic fungus? Theory 3. Religious or supernatural causes. In the deeply religious context of 16th century Europe, many believed the dancing plague was a form of divine punishment. Some even attributed the plague to the wrath of Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dancers and epilepsy. It was said that those who offended the saint would be cursed to dance uncontrollably. Religious processions and rituals were carried out in an attempt to end the plague, but to no avail. The supernatural explanation, while no longer considered valid by modern science, played a significant role in how the people of Strasbourg responded to the crisis. After several weeks of chaos, the dancing plague slowly began to subside. The city authorities eventually banned public dancing and organized religious ceremonies to cleanse the town of what they saw as divine punishment. The dancers were sent to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus, where they prayed for relief. Over time, the plague came to an end, though no one could fully explain why. The dancing plague left a lasting mark on the people of Strasbourg and has continued to fascinate historians, psychologists, and scientists to this day. It stands as one of the strangest events in history, a reminder of how little we sometimes understand about the human mind and body. Though the dancing plague of 1518 is over, its mystery endures. Was it a case of mass hysteria, a result of poisoned grain, or something else entirely? As we continue to investigate this bizarre chapter of history, one thing is certain: the dancing plague remains one of the most perplexing and unsettling phenomena ever recorded. What would cause an entire city to dance themselves to death? Perhaps the answer lies not just in history, but in the deepest recesses of the human mind. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more discoveries that shaped our world. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more discoveries that shaped our world.